There once was a stock that put to sea. The name of the stock was GME. The price blew up and the shorts dipped down. Hold my bully boys, hold. Soon may the tendy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. She had not been 2 weeks from shore when Ryan Cohen joined the board. The captain called all hands and swore he'll take his shares and hold. Soon may the tendy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. Before the news had hit the market, Wall Street bets came up and bought it. With diamond hands, they knew they'd profit if they could only hold. Soon may the tendy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. No deals were cut, no shorts were squeezed. The captain's mind was not on greed, but he belonged to the artist's creed. He took the risk to hold. Soon may the tendy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. For 40 days or even more, the stock went up, then down once more. All gains were lost, it was looking poor, but still those traders did hold. Soon may the tendy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. As far as I've heard, the fight's still on. The short's not squeezed and the gain's not won. The tendy man makes his regular call to encourage the captain, crew, and all. Soon may the tendy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. Soon may the tendy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. Oh, I bid farewell to my monthly paycheck, and I gambled it all on a GME bet. To hold with the boys and ignore calls to sell until we have given the hedgies all hell. And the tendies and diamonds are filling my mind. I'll search for the moon and pay losses no mind. I fear not the hedgie, I fear not his greed. I remember the hodlers, will they think of me when we make all our millions to spite the hedgie? Plot a course off to Mars from the orbit of Moon, to a place where my gains grew along with my crew. It's not about greed, no, I tell to my best, but sending a message to Wall Street the pest. As the words of their dread fill the space of my ears, they're crying like children, their saltiest tears. My heart fills with joy that it's bigger than we. I remember the hodlers, will they think of me when we make all our millions to spite the hedgie? Oh, for sure they will learn that there is consequence for playing with markets for his needs and ends. But when Reddit investors used their tricks on them, they screamed and they shouted while we bought again. As the sights of their rage filled the space in my eyes, for they duped us, but they won't escape us this time. We're this far from winning, this far from their greed. I remember the hodlers, will they think of me when we make all our millions to spite the hedgie? Now that I'm staring down on the feds and the rich, I'm not sure what I want, but I don't think it's this. As my brothers stand in the raging typhoon, I hold on to my shares as they launch towards the moon. As the The souls of huddlers live forever in my mind as I fulfill the dreams that they once tried to find. I look from the moon with the stars within reach. I remember Wall Street bets and they think of me. For our stocks with the moonshot forever will be. I remember the fallen and they think of me. For the hedges shall crumble and fall to their knees. If tomorrow all the gains were gone, I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my stimulus and wife. I thank my lucky stars to be trading here today, 'cause we all still hold our calls and shares, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an artist, 'cause at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the paper hands who sold their GME. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and invest with no regrets, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this sport. Mods bless the Wall Street bets. From the floor in New York City to accounts on Fidelity, from the house of your wife's boyfriend, you just tried to make him see. From you deep fucking value and your own portfolio, where there's tendies in every artist's gut, and it's time we buy and hold. And I'm proud to be an artist, 'cause at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the paper hands who sold their GME. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and invest with no regrets, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this sport. Mods bless the Wall Street bets. And I'm proud to be an artist, 'cause at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the paper hands who sold their GME. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and invest with no regrets, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this sport. Mods bless the Wall Street bets.
What's up, YouTube? How's everyone doing today? Hope you all had a great weekend. It is Monday, May 3rd, 2021. Crazy, crazy day today. Wow. As you can see, I'm reporting to you live from the New York Stock Exchange. And we go with this background when it's a pretty average day. Some green, some red. So, can't complain. Some people made money today, some people didn't. I lost money today. What you gonna do? But hey, got a great show for you today. I'm Ty, and this is Smarter Gambling. So, got a lot to discuss today. Gonna be a little bit different today. I'm gonna do some DDs, some due diligences on some very hot stocks. I'm gonna be talking about Occugin, ticker OCGN. That is blowing up today. And then I'm gonna talk about Vaxart, ticker VXRT. And then we'll talk about Microvision very briefly. I don't really have too much to say about that, but we'll touch on that. And if we got time, we'll get to the YOLOs. So I'm going to skip most of the routine I usually do, you know, running down the stock list. I want to get right into it. I don't want to waste any time. So, let's do it. Whoa. Hold on one second. What's going on here? Okay, that's better. I don't know what that was. All right. 1 second, please. Let me pull up my TD account. All right. So, the Dow Jones is up 0.7%. The Nasdaq is down 0.44%, and the S&P 500 is up 0.27%. So, pretty average day. A lot of red, a lot of green. So let's quickly talk about Microvision. Just very quickly, don't have too much to say about it. Okay. Microvision. So Microvision is down 9.11% today. But kind of expected, right? Well, I expected it. I've been telling you guys to keep selling. I hope you guys did. So there is it seems like there's a resistance, or excuse me, support line at $14. Seems like it's been fighting near the $14 support. So it may go back to about 1570, but if it continues to drop, and this is what I would recommend to all the bulls, is to set your buy orders to $12 and then set another buy order for $10, because it is very, very possible that Microvision will keep falling back there. And I don't believe that it's going to fall below $10. It might, but it seems like there's very strong support at $10. So if I were bullish on this, that's what I would do. Set buy orders at 12 and 10. And we do see this gap here. Let me zoom in a little bit. I mentioned this last week. We do see a gap down from about 17.5. So the gap theory says that most likely the gap will fill, meaning that at some point it's going to come back to 17.5. Can't say when. Maybe it'll be really short, like a couple of days. Maybe it'll take a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. But the gap theory usually is correct. Not all the time, but usually. So it does appear that there is more selling to go. But you don't know. So personally, I would set buy orders at 12, 10, and if it goes up, it goes up. But I don't think it's going to go up. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to do too much arguing about Microvision today. Okay, so let's get to, what was it? OCGN. Okay. All right. So here we have Occugin, ticker OCGN. It is up 23.76% today. Amazing, amazing. Now, there's probably a few reasons why this happened, which we'll get to in a second. But, straight up, you guys should sell. Where have we seen this before? Over and over and over again. GameStop, AMC, Microvision. When you get involved in these battleground stocks and the thing runs up so high and short squeezes like this, and some people are going to argue, oh, it's not a short squeeze. It's a short squeeze, okay? Or at least a gamma squeeze. So, when this thing runs up this high, this fast, you have to expect some pullback. Like, even if you're really bullish on this, I don't see why you would keep holding this. Why wouldn't you take profits, wait for it to pull back, and re-enter at a lower price? I keep saying this, and I don't know why the bulls just keep holding on. Like, do you guys not like money? I don't get it. But, hey. So we see here, the RSI is at 81. And anything above 70 is considered overvalued and overbought. And, let me move my head here. It's a little in the way. There we go. Okay. So, first of all, everybody should be using the RSI tool. Every single investor. It is such a simple tool to use and to learn, and it's so effective. All it is if it goes above 70, you should consider selling. If it goes below 30, you should consider buying. That's it. That's it. That's the whole RSI. Like, it's that simple. So now we see Occugin is at 81, which is getting into pretty overbought and overvalued territory. So what would I recommend at this point? And this is not financial advice. You should dump. And I would say, usually I would say like, well, maybe sell half and hold on to the other half and let it ride. No. Dump all of it. Sell all of it. Again, not financial advice. This is just my opinion. But we've seen this, right? We've seen this over and over and over and over. Do you guys really think this thing is going to keep running? I mean, maybe it will for a little bit in the short term. Maybe tomorrow it'll keep running. Maybe the day after. But very, very soon, this thing is going to come crashing down. I just don't see how even the most bullish of bulls can not think that this thing is coming down. This is common sense, right? Anyway. So we'll, all right, let's talk about the support and resistance. Let's just get all the technicals out of the way first, and then we'll get into the DD. So right now it's sitting at 15.68. Kind of at a resistance at I drew a resistance point at around 15.85. So it is at this line of resistance here. If it goes to the upside, let me draw a new line. If it goes to the upside, the next line of resistance would be the high of 18.77. And if it goes past that, well then, no one can really say where it's going to go from there. At that point, it's uncharted territory. The market will decide for itself. Now, if it goes to the downside, which I'm predicting it will, I would say that the next point of support would be, well, it's debatable. Let me just draw another line here. Okay, if it goes to the downside, the next line of support would be at 1350, around 1350. Then it would be 1250, 1080, 965, 770, and then 530. Don't think it's going to go below 530, but if it does, then the next one would be around 330. So, you know, nobody really, well, on the subreddit, on Wall Street Bets, there's not too much technical analysis going on, right? It's a lot of fundamental stuff, a lot of speculation, a lot of research, but technical analysis is half of investing. You have to look at the charts. It's easy to get caught up in all this hype, the hype train, and it's gonna moon and all this and that, and we got to take a step back and be rational. Look at the chart and read what the chart is telling you. The chart is telling us right now that this is pretty overbought and overvalued and likely coming down soon. But that's just my opinion. So I would say sell. You guys can hold if you want. But I think if you're bullish or bearish, you should sell everything right now. And if you're bullish, get back in later. Anyway, let's move on to the DD. Okay, so possibly why, well, this definitely had a big factor on why the stock ran so much today. Early this morning, before the market opened, about 2 hours before the market opened, Ocugen comes out with this. I'll just read it. Ocugen announces studies showing Covaxin potentially effective against three key variants of SARS. It's COVID. I probably shouldn't even say that. I might get demonetized. We'll call it the CV. So their vaccine, Covaxin, is potentially effective against three key variants of the CV. So, speculation. And you guys know how I feel about speculation. This is good PR. This is exciting news, good hype. But I would not read too much into this. But I definitely do think this is the biggest reason why that the stock moved up so high today. This good news probably caused a lot of initial buying, which then triggered a gamma squeeze or a short squeeze. That's just my opinion. So if this news didn't drop today, not quite sure how Ocugen would it did. But it's up about 24% today, running real high. All right. So let's just take a look at their website really quick. So it says, our mission is to develop gene therapies to cure blindness diseases and develop a vaccine to save lives from the CV-19. Okay. Sounds pretty cool. Alright. I'm going to move on to Covaxin here. Okay. So this company, Ocugen, is partnered with technically not Johnson and Johnson, but their parent company. Forget what it's called. Let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, whatever. Screw it. I'm not going to spend time looking for that. But, so Ocugen is currently developing this vaccine, Covaxin. A lot of people are excited about this because obviously it has a lot of real world applications, and this has a lot of potential to do a lot of good and make a lot of money for investors. So, should I read all of this? Well, all right. So, summary: it's still in development. This vaccine has not been released yet. It has been approved in a few countries down here. It has been approved in India, Zimbabwe, Mauritius, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, the Philippines, excuse me. It is available in Guyana, Zimbabwe, Iran, India, Myanmar, Mauritius, and maybe a few others, but this has only been approved by the official governing authorities in a few countries. It is still in trials in a lot of other countries, including Mexico, Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay, Argentina, Uzbekistan, Hungary, Ethiopia, Malaysia, Philippines, Oman. So, not really any Western countries that this is approved in. It's a lot of Asian countries, a lot of South American countries. So, there's a lot of hype about this and hope and speculation because this has not been released yet. This has not been mass produced and released to the public. But let's just take a look. Now let's move on to some DDs from Reddit from other people. So I'm gonna see what they have to say and give my opinion on it. Okay, so this one is by Additional Plant 539. So, apparently the big difference between Covaxin and the other vaccines such as Moderna and Pfizer is that Covaxin is an inactivated vaccine. Now, before we get into this, full disclosure, I am not a medical expert, and a lot of this was a gibberish to me, and I'm going to try my best to break it down for you guys. But it's a lot of medical stuff that's way out of my league. So just take note of that. So apparently people like the Covaxin vaccine because it is an inactivated vaccine versus activated vaccines, which the more popular vaccines that we're taking now are. It's in phase 3, so it's almost done with development, and it has an 81% efficacy. So I guess that's not as good as Pfizer and Moderna. I think those are like 90 something. I think J&J was like 80, 85 or something. So it's like around the same as like the J&J vaccine. And another bullish argument is that this was tested in 12-year-olds. It's for children. This guy says no other vaccine is currently safe for this age group, meaning, children. I'm not gonna comment on this. That's beyond my knowledge, my medical knowledge. But this is what the claim is, that this vaccine is safe for children. And he says it's easy to stockpile and store and distribute because you don't need to freeze it. It can be in room temperature for 3 months. And he says that this is the cheapest vaccine available. And it's effective against different variants of the virus. And in addition to the CV research, they're also working on curing other diseases, such as diabetes and blindness and some other diseases. He says that the Ocugen CEO wants to distribute this in the United States. I'll address that later. And he also says that many of the current staff are ex-Pfizer employees and many other very smart people from the medical industry. So, yeah, some good information here. A lot of good information. See, the things with these DDs is you don't really find bearish DDs. Like, when you do a DD, you should be looking at the positives, and you have to take it from a bearish perspective too. You can't just do one side, But we'll get to that. Okay, so here's another DD, and this one is by DB7624. This is a bearish DD. So let's see what the bear case is for this stock. Alright, so he says that the FDA was not willing to approve this vaccine for emergency use in the United States, which is kind of a red flag. I don't know why, Moderna and Pfizer and J&J got the okay, but this didn't. Maybe it's bureaucracy, or maybe it's because it's just not a good, reliable vaccine. And he says it was only 83% effective, so it's not as effective as some of the other vaccines. He says that there is too much competition for this company. He says there's a new biotech company every day. On average, one biotech company is started every day. And he says one of their biggest competitors is Halozyme Therapeutics, ticker HALO. I mean, I'm not really going to get into the DD of Halozyme, but he pretty much argues that Halozyme blows oxygen out of the water, and you should probably go with Halozyme instead. He goes into short interest, but this is kind of outdated, so I'll show the new short interest data soon. So the financials are not that bad, actually. They actually beat the last couple of quarters, and the last quarter was right on the money. The estimate was 2 cents, and the actual EPS was 2 cents. So he says, in conclusion, he recommends that people stay out of it because the volatility is too high, and this stock is just running on hype. He says that they're too late in the U.S. market to make any money here. And if there is any good to this company, it would be from their gene therapies for curing blindness and other diseases. Okay. So, good information here. Very good information. So we have a bull case and a bear case now. The bull case is that it's almost done being developed. It's in phase 3 of clinical trials and soon to be approved and on the market. And there's a lot of countries that are waiting to get this vaccine. And the bulls believe that now countries like India are really going to buy a lot of these vaccines, and the company's going to make a lot of money. Now, the bear case is there's a lot of competition that's already ahead of Ocugen, and now why go with this company if there's tons of other companies that are way better? And basically that the bear argument is that this is a hype train and all speculation, and there's not really too much fundamentals behind it. And I would kind of have to agree with that, honestly. You guys know me. I don't like investing in speculation. I like to put my money in stuff when there's an actual product on the market and it's being sold and revenues are coming in. So, and this bear makes a point, honestly. I don't see why you wouldn't just go with Moderna or Pfizer or J&J, unless I guess you really believe in this gene therapeutic stuff. I can't really speak too much on that because, again, I'm not a medical expert. But it doesn't really seem like they're focusing on their gene therapy that much. They're like they're prioritizing uh their CV research. Let's take a look at the short interest. All right. So as of April 15th, there is an 18% short float on this stock. So about 1/5 of this stock is shorted. Probably less now after today. It appears that today we had a short squeeze, or at least a gamma squeeze. So it's probably not 18% anymore. Maybe more like 10. That's just a guess. That's just my opinion. But this does have a very high short interest on it. So that is one reason why that a lot of apes, a lot of investors like this stock. And I will say that you should never invest in a company just because of the short interest. If you should invest in a company because you believe in the fundamentals and you think it's a good company. And the short interest is just a benefit to that. But you should never invest in a company for the sole purpose of short squeeze. So, yes, this company does have very high short interest. Let's take a look at some articles from Investor Place. It says, if you have Ocugen stock, now is the time to take profits. I agree. So I'm not going to read this whole thing. But let's see the main points here. So this article argues that the vaccine will not be offered in the U.S. And this is true because even if it does make it to the U.S., like 40% of the population is vaccinated already. So by the time this makes it on the market, what? Probably like 60, 80% of us are going to be vaccinated. So really, how many people are going to take this vaccine by the time this makes the market? If it even does. And they use the same argument that Pfizer, Moderna, they're more effective and safer. This article says the same thing. Despite Covaxin news, Ocugen stock remains a long shot for U.S. use. So, oh yeah, here's a good headline. It says, OCGN stock investors bought the rumor, may buy more on the news. So what we saw today was, I would say, buying the rumor, because it said that the vaccine was potentially effective against different variants of the virus. I don't like that. I want it to be confirmed that it's effective against different variants, not potentially effective. I don't. I mean, hey, more risk, more reward. if if you guys got house money to throw at it, then sure, go ahead. But I really don't think that investing in speculation is very smart. So, in summary, the bulls are really relying on this to make it big in India. You know, India is a huge country, billions of people there, or over 1 billion people there. I believe it's about 1.5 billion people in India. Don't quote me on that. Let me look it up real quick. Yeah, it's about 1.5 billion people. And every other country that is going to potentially use this vaccine is relatively small. Maybe not Iran, but the big money, the thing that everyone is hoping for is that this makes it big in India. So pretty much the success of this company and this vaccine kind of depends on India. You know, the Western countries aren't using this. And the other countries that have approved this are relatively small countries, and they're not going to be purchasing many of these vaccines. And remember, this is still in trial. This is not released yet. This is not for market yet. So, personally, this is too much speculation for me. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting my money in this. Maybe potentially if they actually, you know, if or when this hits the market and you start to see that countries are buying this and it's actually making some money, then yeah, then I would consider maybe putting my money in it. But I just can't see myself putting money on speculation like this. And like I said, at an RSI of 81, this is, you guys should probably consider, you guys should be thinking about selling here. I have no doubt this is going to come down at some point. Like I said, maybe not tomorrow or the next day, but very, very soon this thing is going to come pulling back. And if you guys were lucky enough to get in before this huge run, like if you got in at the bottom, like at $6 or something, like $9, even $10, please sell. Please sell, please sell. Take your profits. Even if you're bullish, take your profits. Re-enter later. And for those of you who are not in the stock and are thinking about it, please don't do that. Please do not do that. Please do not FOMO into this stock. You're going to get burned. You're going to be bag holding. Please do not FOMO into this. You've seen, you know, a lot of people already get burned on GME and Microvision, and the same thing is going to happen here. Please do not FOMO into this. Just wait for a pullback. It's coming. Just wait for it. All right, yeah, I think that's all I got for OCGN. Let me just double check. Yeah, okay. So now let's move on to Vaxart. Okay. Yeah, actually, all right. So this is Vaxart. I was actually going to do a video yesterday about Vaxart, but I didn't get to it. But I was gonna say sell, and I would have been right. So today, Vaxart is down 25.6%. Yeah, that's pretty disgusting. So it finishes around $8. Seems like there is... Excuse me, guys, there's a siren. My apologies. So this is pretty incredible, huh? This thing ran from like $5.50 all the way up to $25. That's pretty impressive. And then it comes crashing all the way back down to $5, and it went back up to about 11, and now it's coming back down again. So before today, if you look at the RSI, it was sitting at $81. Or excuse me, 81. It was sitting at 81. Now, so like I just said earlier, when the RSI goes above 70, this indicates to you that we're getting into overbought and overvalued territory, and you might want to consider selling. And that would have been a good idea. You know, the after it tanked almost 26% today, the RSI returns to, pretty normal. It went back to 57. So, yeah, at 81, the RSI, that's definitely a good time to sell. And I really hope you guys did. It appears that there's still going to be some more selling, but yeah, I'm not even going to speculate on how much. But it appears that the selling is not done yet. So I hope you guys sold, and if you didn't yet, I would recommend sell. But let's just take a look at some support and resistance. So if this continues to move to the downside, the next line of support would be around $6.30, and then it would be $3.50. Now, if we move to the upside, the next line of resistance would be around $11, $14, $17, and then $25. So, yeah, this stock is extremely, extremely volatile. So, yeah, let's get into the DDs. Okay, so let's take a look at their website. So this is really the selling point of the company, and that is oral vaccines. There's a lot of arguments saying that orally taking the vaccine is better than getting it injected because of and then we're getting into medical stuff here, because it goes through your intestines and goes through your mucous membranes, which when you inject it directly into your bloodstream, it does not. Says that the advantages of taking a vaccine orally is that it can be at room temperature, so it's stable, doesn't have to be frozen. And it's supposed to be more effective. Okay, so we see here some of the trials that they're working on. So for the CV, it's only in phase 1. They just completed phase 1, so there's still a phase 2 and a phase 3 to go. So this still has a ways to go before it's officially approved and manufactured for the market. They're working on some other trials. A flu vaccine, regular flu vaccine, that's in phase 1. Got respiratory. You got RSV, not really sure what that is, but that's preclinical. There's norovirus, that's also in phase 1. And they have a HPV vaccine that is in preclinical trial. So it seems that all of the vaccines that they're working on are still in relatively early phases of production. And it's going to take a while to actually have a marketable product. All right, so let's just take a look at the company's short interest. So as of April 15th, the short float was 22%. That's pretty huge. Probably not as much because it appears there was a gamma squeeze, or at least some short started to cover. So it's probably a little less than 22 right now. There was this video on YouTube that I found from this guy, Dr. Mobeen Syed. I linked it down below in the description if you want to check it out. But this doctor, he explains the science behind the vaccine as best as he can. And I think to any average person who doesn't really understand, medical terms and stuff like that, he does a pretty good job explaining it. So if you want, go check that out. And he does not have a position in this, so he was being unbiased, and he had a lot of good things to say about the vaccine so far. And this guy seems to be pretty credible. He's a doctor. He has his MD, and he also has a master's in science for computer science. So he's a physician and a software engineer, and he combines the skills that he has from both to try to advance medicine. So, if you want, if you guys want to go check that video out, it's a very bullish case for this. But now let's get into the Reddit DDs. Okay. So this guy talks about mucosal immunity. So we're getting into some medical stuff here. Not my expertise, but he says that orally taking a pill activates a different type of immune response in the mucosa lining of the stomach. And apparently that's way better than just getting it injected into your bloodstream. So there's a few benefits of taking the vaccine orally and not through injection, being no needles, no medical staff necessary, no medical waste, no appointments needed. You can ship it by mail. I'm not sure how true that is. I'm not sure if you could really just buy an over-the-counter vaccine like this and just take it without any supervision by a medical professional, but that's what this guy claims. Extended shelf life, so it lasts longer than your traditional injection vaccines. And it can be stored at room temperature. Okay. So Vaxart has a partnership with Janssen Research, and Janssen owns Johnson & Johnson. So that is some pretty bullish, that is a pretty bullish argument there, can't lie. He says that even Dr. Fauci, which is the doctor nowadays, the celebrity doctor, Dr. Fauci. If you don't know who he is, you're probably living under a rock. This guy claims that Dr. Fauci was excited about the potential of an oral vaccine. He says that Vaxart is hiring a bunch of employees. A lot of positions are open. He says that they have lobbying connections to the Biden administration. And full disclosure, they have long positions in Vaxart. So this is kind of biased. But this was a lot of good information here. Let's take a look at another one. Oh, I forgot to mention. So, probably one big factor why this stock tanked so much today is because they released their earnings, and I believe that they did this out of nowhere early, because nobody was really expecting this. So they released their earnings. The estimated EPS was negative 10 cents, and the actual was negative 14 cents. So they missed on the earnings, and probably a big reason why the stock is down so much today. Not quite sure why they would just release the earnings like that out of nowhere. Apparently, today and tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, are big catalyst days for Vaxart. They were supposed to do a presentation today about one of their studies. Not really sure how that went, but I guess it didn't have much of an effect on the stock price because the thing just absolutely tanked today. And tomorrow, one of their doctors is supposed to make a presentation about this vaccine. So I'm not quite sure how big these catalysts are, but quite honestly, it doesn't sound too important to me. So apparently on one of their earlier trials, it didn't go so well. They cotton swabbed 2 people and there were no antibodies present. And while the medical community doesn't really see this as that much of a problem, to the investors, this was a major failure, and the stock tanked from 24 down to 9. So, do what you will with that information. Medical community believes it's not a big deal, and the clinical trials are on track. To are right on progress to be complete. But the investors really didn't like this. The investors wanted more positive news. And quite honestly, I don't think anyone cares about the medicine, except the doctors. But us as investors, we just want to make money. So, all right, let's take a look at one more. I don't think there's anything here I didn't already mention. Okay. So, in summary, a lot of people are bullish and they believe in the potential of this new oral vaccine. Um, the medical community says that oral vaccines are better than the injectable ones because it travels to your intestines and um, and it it helps your mucous membranes. Again, I'm not a medical expert, so I don't really know too much about this stuff, but the claim is that oral vaccines are better than injectables because it reaches your intestines and your mucous membranes are supposed to dissolve the pill, and it's better for you. Now, the bull arguments are that there's a lot of catalysts coming up. I wouldn't look too much into the catalysts, guys. Today was supposed to be one, doesn't seem to matter. Tomorrow there's another one. I think the price is still going to tank. And they have a partnership with Janssen, which owns Johnson and Johnson. So, I didn't really find too many bearish arguments for this, but I'll just play devil's advocate. And this is kind of my personal opinion anyway, is that it's still very, very early on in the trials. This is still in phase 1 of trials. So, who knows when this thing would actually be ready for market? It might be a year or 2 years. And realistically, by then, a lot of people are going to be vaccinated by then. Not only in the United States, but other countries as well. Like I said before, about 40% of Americans are already vaccinated. So in 1 year, how many Americans do you think are going to be vaccinated? Maybe 60, 80%? One second, guys. And quite honestly, I'm not sure how many people care about taking the pill orally. You know, we're getting into all the science stuff and what's better for you and what's not, and I think the general public really doesn't care. They just want to get vaccinated. Whether it's orally, I mean, yeah, of course, I guess most people would want to take it orally rather than inject it. But at the end of the day, we just want to get vaccinated, right? Like, I personally don't care if I take a pill or get injected, as long as I'm safe, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm ignorant. I don't know the medical science behind it, but to the average person, this really doesn't seem like a big deal. I don't think the average person really cares if they get injected or take a pill. So, this is another one that I would personally stay away from until they had a product on the market. And it's still in phase 1. There's still a lot of time before this actually gets released. By the time it actually comes out, if it comes out, who knows how effective it's going to be? As in, like, who knows how many people are actually going to want this thing? But it is good that it is stable at room temperature, and it lasts longer than the injectable vaccine, so you can store them easier and longer. I just don't really think that that's that much of a benefit. So, if you're thinking about getting in this stock, I would hold off just a little bit. It seems like it's going to be selling a little bit more. If I was long on this stock, personally, this is not financial advice, I would set a buy order at 620 and then set another buy order at 350. very possible that the stock is going to come back down to those levels, and those are some pretty good entry points. At this price right now, at $8, still kind of high. The RSI says that's a fair price, but I still think that's a bit overvalued. But hey, that's just my opinion. Anyway, so there you have it. That is the quick DD for Vaxart, the oral CV vaccine. A lot of hype about this one, a lot of bulls on this one. Personally, not too bullish on it. But this, I don't believe that these stocks are pump and dumps. I wouldn't call them pump and dumps. Because a lot of people do see value in these stocks. But with these battleground stocks, we'll call them battleground stocks because they're extremely volatile. And if you are bullish, look, you can't diamond hands. When you're playing battleground stocks, do not hold. Do not diamond hands. If you're lucky enough to be in there before it takes off, just sell it. Diamond hands is not going to do you any good with battleground stocks. If it's more traditional, safer stocks, then sure, hold it, diamond hands. But man, this thing is just way too volatile. If you make money, you got to get out. Straight up. Alright guys, that is the show for today. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Please like the video, please subscribe, and if you enjoy my content and want to support my channel, please check out my Patreon. And just a reminder, I am giving away this Xbox Series S. The contest ends on Friday. If you want to enter the contest, check out the video, link in the description down below. Alright. You apes already know diamond hands to the moon, not financial advice. I realize how I gotta hold these things like this. Yeah. Yeah, you can't even see this. There we go. Gotta point it out a little bit. In the light. Yeah, there we go. I'm Ty. This is Smarter Gambling. See you guys tomorrow. Peace out.
My mother told me someday I will buy rockets with doubloons off to distant moons, shoot up past the stars, noble ship I steer, steady course to the haven. Hold, brothers, hold, then hold, sisters, hold then. My mother told me someday I will buy rockets with doubloons off to distant moons. Shoot up past the stars, noble ship I steer, steady course to the haven. Hold, brothers, hold then, hold, sisters, hold then. My mother told me someday I will buy rockets with doubloons off to distant moons. Shoot up past the stars, noble ship I steer, steady course to the haven. Hold, brothers, hold then, hold, sisters, hold then. My mother told me someday I will buy rockets with doubloons off to distant moons. Shoot up past the stars, noble ship I steer, steady course to the haven. Hold, brothers, hold then, hold, sisters, hold then.